It's like, damn, be real with the people, but don't lie to them.
Freely admit that I am prejudiced against timeshares.
My definition of timeshare is prepaid vacations.
And last year, the average timeshare sold for about $20,000.
If you're a salesperson, this is something you want to tap into.
Biggest thing with objections?
For timeshare, all you hear is a bunch of negative things.
And they were persuasive, and they kept pushing us, and we'd say no, and they'd say something else.
Welcome back to Sold in 60. It's your host, Richie Rich, and my boy, Down Payment Dillan.
We in the building.
Yo, I got a special guest. It's always a special guest, but they only get better and better and better. I want to give you a shout out and give a warm welcome to my man, Big B, Big Brandon Velez. What's up?
Welcome to the
What's
show,
up, King?
I'm excited to be here.
We appreciate you pulling up. We know you wear many hats, so to get you up in here, it's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? But we have viewers that watch this show, and they want to know if they should get into the game. So we always try to bring in, the best of the best, and to, have people share their successes or their experiences with them. And tell us, like, how the hell did you even get into this timeshare industry?
Man, first off, I got to say thank you for having me. Man, I think I've been talking about doing this, man, and finally you dragged me over here, and I said, yes. So we're making it happen.
Sure.
But yeah, man, I got into this industry, I think I was like 20, man. I got in, I got hurt playing football, and I still say it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Very blessed by that injury because it led me to some money. And some money is a very light term because it's blessed me in so many ways. I got in there 20 years old, got my license. I learned the hard way because I didn't listen to many people. I had a very good family friend that's been in the industry for almost 20 plus years that funded the ability for me to be able to go to a real estate school and get my license. But I didn't really listen to him in the beginning, which I should have. I came in and I killed it within the first 6 months, and everyone reminded me how much money I wasn't making, which is always a hard fact to swallow, I got my license, and the rest was history from there. 9 years now in the industry, and I keep telling myself, man, is this my last year? And it's nowhere near it.
It keeps calling you back.
It keeps going because the money is there. It's real. It's fast. It's not just little fast money. It's big fast money.
Large lump sums,
Man, I can't even put into words the things that I've done that, especially when young on and 21, 23, 25, I would have never even thought that I'd be able to do. The trips, the investments that I've made, just the experiences alone, and the blessings that I've been able to pass on as well to others, to my family. Timeshare is what did it for me. Timeshare has been everything for me. I know there's a million other ways to make that bag, but the reality of it is that timeshare is right there. It's easily accessible. And, if you're not a natural born hustler, if you don't have it already in you, the beautiful part is that there's plenty of people and plenty of institutions right now that can teach you that, and kind of put those techniques and those tools in your pocket to be able to be successful and make the money that thankfully, both of you have made, myself and so many others.
Yeah. So just to touch that. So when you got in the game, I know you said you did, very, very well your first 6 months, but was there a learning curve that you had to go through, or were you kind of that natural born where as soon as you got in, it just clicked from the beginning and things were up from the beginning?
Yeah. I mean, I know that it would sound cooler to say like, no, yeah, there was a learning curve. I had to, no, but humbly, I will say that it just clicked very quickly for me. I've always been, from hustling the candy bars in school to, even in college, I used to hustle for the barber. I wasn't even the guy that could cut the hair, but, I always figured out a way to make him some money so I could make my money in the back end, the honey buns weren't cutting it. So when I got into timeshare, it clicked very quickly within the first, my first deal. Literally first day, I didn't even know what I was selling, and it was a $57,000 deal, full down, and if I would have had my license.
So you started without the license.
Started
first.
without the license. I just, I was hungry. I couldn't keep working a 9 to 5. 9 to 5 has never been me. It was a struggle to even do that at one point. So the minute I got the opportunity to get into the training class, I said, forget it. I'm going to do that and then get my license later. And it hurt, but it was the best decision I ever made because timing is never perfect. If you have that door in front of you, open it. You could continue to tell yourself that you're going to open it later. It might disappear.
Right. A lot of people start without a license, especially what they call frontline. I don't think they really push people to get it. I think the cool thing about not having a license, as a company perspective, is that if that person sells a $57,000 deal, they don't have to really pay a commission. They'll probably pay them whatever the daily rate was, like $100 or whatever. Opposed to someone with the license makes like what, 10, 13% of that?
10 to 13% is amazing. Yeah, you're right. For a company, it's the smartest thing ever. Come on in. We're going to pay you a nice little daily salary, 100%, because you're right. They're taking the gamble that they're going to spend the money on training you, and they're going to put you on the floor. And, hey, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's got to be a nice percentage for them to spend that money to train you properly, to get you in the industry and start selling, because there's a lot of these guys that are in frontline that don't have a license, but they're making this company $1 million, $1.5 million, and they're walking away with $100 and some nachos. Like it's a genius tactic for the company.
Right.
But if you're smart, you get that license, and a lot of people are pushed away by getting the license because either they don't know if they're going to pass it, or it's an investment. You got to spend money for the school and all the other parts. But you get that back in one check, and I saw it myself. I got more than what I invested into trying to pass that exam, because I wasn't the book smart cookie in school. Unfortunately, I was the jock in school that copied off the smart and pretty girls. For sure. So it was a challenge for me to get that license.
Yeah. It's a what? A class could be $500, and fingerprints is maybe $60, and the application is, let's say, $90, but it's the state exam. But under $1,000, opposed to what a person pays for college or some type of vocational, the income potential once you get in the game is like unreal. Like I heard some guy the other day is making $700,000. Yeah, $700,000 at another resort. That's like unheard of on just sharing, the vacation ownership experience. You know what I mean? Like, do you think the product works?
Man, you put me on the spot. Listen, if it didn't work, we wouldn't be doing this for this long. That's one. Okay. Does it work exactly how we might want it to work? No. There are products. And I kind of try and explain to my friends, because I get friends that call me all the time like, hey, can you sell me a timeshare? And I tell them, like, look, man, unless you're going to buy that expensive product from me, then I'm not going to sell it to you, because I don't want to have to block you later. And the reality of it is that, yes, there are products in timeshare that work. I know so many owners, not just from the company that I work for, but from other companies that they swear by it, because it's a product that has saved them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and they've been able to take trips they would have never even been able to do, because the funds weren't really there. And timeshare was able to provide that for them and their families. So I would say that it works, but it's all about, you can't fit a family of 6 in a Corvette. You got to find something that works for you. And if you can't buy the product that doesn't work for you, realistically, I walk away. I would walk away. Go back and get the product that works for you at the moment that you can afford it, or make yourself afford it, because you have to see the benefits that timeshare does. It's endless.
Yeah. Let's go back for a minute. You came up you had a mentor you said that kind of put you into the game. And I
Yeah.
think I know who you're talking about. Is it Elias?
Elias Gomez.
Let me tell you something. Shout out to Elias Gomez.
I remember Elias. Yeah.
I know a lot of great people that came under his teachings. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I didn't have the opportunity to work with him. I did give him a deal one time because my manager wasn't there, and I gave him a deal. Shout out to Elias. He's doing very well and has always done very well. But I'm very happy that there's people that pay it forward and share their knowledge with people. Because I think sometimes in this industry, you have people who don't believe in helping other people succeed or get better. And one manager told me something that I'll never forget. He said, anyone could be a TO, but only some people could be a manager. And I think a manager is one who wants to groom and grow his team or people that's under him. And the fact that a 20-year-old kid, he says, let me show you the ropes and bring you in. And I'm going to invest in you to change your life. That's dope, man. So if you see him, you tell him I give him a shout out. Hopefully he's watching this and we can get him to come through. I know he owns property and restaurants in Puerto Rico, and he comes to Orlando every now and then. So if you can, man, invite him to the studio because we want to give him his flowers.
And that's timeshare money. That's timeshare money. I mean, you said it yourself right there. And, you know, to touch on that, what you said, TO and manager, there's a lot of people mistake that. They think that it's the same thing. It's not. When I first started in the industry, I remember getting frustrated with him. I remember arguing. We used to argue right on the floor. People used to see us like, what in the world? And this he's not big. You know, standing next to me, it looks like this guy's going to get thrown off the balcony. And I used to get frustrated because he would make me go back to the tables and close them by myself. And in my mind, my young mind, you're the manager, you're the TO. Why aren't you coming to do this? Right. Why are you sending me? I did my job. You go do your job to make your money now. And I didn't see it until a couple of years later where I am now, where most of the time, look, there are many, many, many representatives that are so much better than I am. But I consider these managers blessed to be able to work with me because I don't, most of the time, don't have to have them come to my table. I know how to do front to back. I know how to sell the family, whether it's backdoor or straight on. And I know at the end, I don't really need that manager to come to my table because I'm going to close it. I'm not getting out of that table without a credit card and driver's license. And there are a lot of representatives that get in this industry and they expect and they think that this is like all the other sales industries where you can go in, do your job, and then pass it on to the manager and expect for you to get paid later on. You're leaving it in somebody else's hand. And if there's one thing that I've always learned is no one cares about your money more than you. Simple as that. They're going to try and grind and get that deal, but they don't care as much as you do. And thanks to Elias, he showed me not to depend on anybody else, depend on yourself. It's your check. On Friday when that deposit hits, the big deposit, it's either big or you're crying. One of the two. The manager isn't going to cry. He's got other deals coming in. So, yeah, like you said, shout out to him because unfortunately there are not a lot of managers out there. There's a lot of TOs. And if there's managers out there, kudos to you, hat off to you because you're cultivating literally the sales force that's going to continue to grow and continue to pass those teachings on because yeah, well, he started back in the day when there wasn't none of these benefits from any company out there. Right. And if he was able to do it then and he's able to do it now, and look at all the beautiful properties and restaurants and all the things that he's got, came from timeshare. Came from timeshare.
For sure. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Why do you think timeshare gets this bad rap, gets this bad reputation? You know, if you tell someone, yeah, I sell timeshare, they're like, oh, timeshare, all that, you know, that thing. Why do you think that stigma is like that?
Because they're not making the money we are. That's the
Easily
reality.
put.
It's usually somebody who tried it and failed and was like,
yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people say all the things that they can say. They're not making the money that we're making. Simple as that. They tried it, they failed. They in their heads want to tell themselves that they're amazing, that they're great. You might be great at selling a car. Sell a tie. Sell something. But timeshare isn't for everyone. But if there's one thing that I told myself this, it's always easier to be safe, right? What's the worst that can happen if you get into the timeshare industry and you fail? Go back to doing what you were doing before. But what happens if you don't fail? You're making all this money, and all of a sudden now you're not saying, oh, timeshare's bad, timeshare's this, timeshare's that. The timeshare people are rats. No, you're making that money just like we are. And the reality of it is that it's not easy. It's not. It's not. If they tell you it's easy, they're lying to you.
Well, not to mention also, a lot of people will go to a timeshare resort. Let's say it doesn't work out for whatever reason, and they're out the industry, but they don't know that there's hundreds of timeshare resorts just here in Orlando alone. I mean, we all know a story of someone that went to a resort and did terrible. They did shitty. They got fired. But then they went to another resort and they were
a rock star.
Listen, shout out to my boy Cisco. You got to get him on here as well.
For sure.
My boy Cisco is one of the top timeshare representatives in the industry.
Sure.
His name definitely rings bells.
In the industry, not in Florida, not in Orlando, in the industry, okay? And this guy is, I'm not going to disclose his paychecks or his bank account, but I'm just going to put it this way. He's been able to do things that only I'm dreaming of and trying to get to. And he didn't do so great at the first resort that he went to. He bounced and he went to another company, and that other company was his gold mine. So if it doesn't work for you at one resort, take the tools that you learn at that spot and go to another company and try and crush it. And if it doesn't work, rinse and repeat. Because like you said, there's hundreds of and thousands of other companies out there, and everybody has a different product, and you might meet that one person or get that one tool that you didn't have at the other spot, and boom, magic happens.
So speaking about companies that have different products, this is a big debate on this channel, so let's go ahead and bring it up. Let's talk about it. Are you team points or are you team weeks? Which one is better?
Ooh, man. Listen, I've had the opportunity to sell both. That's tough, man. That's tough. I'm sure there's some people that are points or But man, in my point in my life where I'm at right now, if I were to buy a product, I would have to say points. I would have to say points just for the simple fact of the flexibility of being able to use those points for different things. And that's just me. But if you ask an old head, they might go deeded week because traditional week one, because it's not so complicated.
It's safe.
It's safe and simple. You know what you're getting. You're getting vanilla ice cream. You're not getting a sundae. You know what I'm saying? Points is like a blizzard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't really know what you're getting because there's so much bundled into one. But I mean, points, after experiencing both, points is where it's at. Points is where it's at. And that's not even the product I sell.
Right.
Just got to throw it out there. That's not the product I sell, but points is where it's at. If you get a great points program, that's when you can come to me and you can buy some timeshare, because I would feel comfortable selling a product like that.
Got you.
Bing.
So one of the things you mentioned earlier, you said, I guess it sounded like you a friend of yours come to you to purchase a timeshare, and you say, hey, if you're not going to purchase this specific package, then don't do it. So are you saying people are not purchasing enough timeshare when they do make their initial purchase?
1,000%. That is the wow. Enough people don't say that exact thing because it's real. It's real. People tend to want to lie to themselves when they give us that credit card, thinking that they're buying the best. And yes, it comes in hand and play because we're transferring that emotion and we're pitching that and we're giving information that makes this sound amazing. But in all reality, there's always the best and there's always all right.
Got you.
We're going to take that credit card for whatever you can afford. But the reality of it is that, yes, there is always a product that does better than the other. And if it's my close friend, my family, or somebody that I personally, affiliate myself with, if you're buying something and I know how you already operate, I'm going to tell you what you need. And if it's not in your budget, then don't buy it.
Speaking of that, some reps, I mean, that's just you just keeping it real and being a real person and putting your sales hat to the side and just, opening up to the people. Some sales reps will never say, hey, I know you're about to spend this $30,000 right now, but what you really need is this $50,000, this $50,000 packet. Reps will be scared as hell to say some shit like that at the, you know what I'm saying?
We don't want to blow the deal.
No, man. Hey, look, I got to keep it real. And then obviously it's a different factor too, because you're going to run into that person again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Imagine I sold you something that didn't work and I have to see you every weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I'm at the club and this guy's across from me. He's like, yo, he bought that bottle because I bought that Timeshare. And it doesn't work. No, you know, I want to make sure that they have something that actually works for them. And that's the big word right there is it's got to work for them. This isn't a cookie cutter product. Whether you buy points or you buy D to weeks, you got to buy something that works for you. And what works for you might not work for you and might not work for you, you know. And if it does work for all three of us, then great. That means that we're traveling very similar.
Got you.
But you know, I'm not just gonna unethically sell something to a friend or family member or somebody I personally know. And not saying that I do that on the daily, but remember, in the sales industry, families are coming into us and they're not necessarily asking to buy anything, but when we get them convinced, we got to give them what they want, you know. And if they're convinced